We have returned once more to Kamaitachi Yoru. Hello once again, everybody. My name is, as it was the last dozen times we had this conversation, Mitsu Midori, and I am still a forensic scientist from the world of mystery novels. That's not what you're here for tonight. Hello again, Otome. It's good to see you again. I am going, in spite of everything. And never mind that, I made you all a promise, and that promise was that last time we were going to drink some goddamn coffee. This ought to be fun. How you doing, Doctor? You're right, I'm not dead yet, despite the efforts of several members of our criminal underworld, so I guess I can't complain too hard. I saw you say on Twitter that you've been retired. I mean, isn't that always, though? Anyway, don't we need some beverages? Hope you'll get better, though. I mean, I will thank you for the offer. Anyway, if you all will recall, last time we streamed this game, we were here preparing drinks, and that was all we doing. We go! Alright, I'm not actually asleep just yet. Come on, give me a little credit. Anyway. So, tea. No, not
because I'm
tea.
incredibly stupid.
We finished tea already. Coffee, we had done 1 out of 3, and juice we had... I think incredibly stupid commands here to working perfectly. Yeah, I went back and tampered with that source way down at the first level after we got in. I'm very glad it's working now, because if it wasn't, I was going to be quite upset. Okay. Yes, good morning, Nia. Don't you have some ooze to deposit or whatever? I need coffee, I don't know about you all. Alright, last time we did find some milk, if you'll recall. I think the wake up is like very class different how that it says wake up. The sound is good though. I mean, as the clip. I can't really make it last any longer unless you want me to put it through some distortion effects. Anyway, Nia is rocking out like nobody's business over there. So I guess we'll just leave her to her issues and drink some coffee. I poured a mug of hot coffee. The aroma of freshly roasted Java wafted through the air. Don't say wafted. I figured keeping it black would best match Mari's grown-up personality. And after picking a single drink, I returned to the table. HW means I'm still stating that chocolate is not good, and I'm still stating that you're objectively wrong and should be ashamed of yourself. Appears we are at an impasse. Anyway, it looks like this is same as last time. Just gotta get our completionists out of the way, give people a chance to filter in before we start. What's wrong with chocolate? Nothing. It just doesn't have a digestive... Why am I listening to you? You're slime. You don't even have a tongue or a digestive system. Your opinion is less than nothing here. You fool. You goofus. You knucklehead. You three-ring circus clown. You goofus without a gallant. You absolute no good, Nick. Anyway, stop that. You know, if there was a world where chocolate didn't exist, the murder rates probably would have increased by 200%. Maybe. Although there was that time we got called in about that body that they into the mixing tank at the factory. Man, that case was weird. Anyway, do you want to take it with sugar, or are you a man? I'm a man, I take loads of sugar. I placed a sugar cube at the bottom of her mug, then filled it to the brim with coffee and milk. Try eating a slice of chocolate mousse cake for 1 week straight. You needed a week to get through a single slice? What the hell's wrong with you? Just because you were that tiny. This drink, it was my attempt to capture the gentle wakefulness of the morning. I don't like most Philistines, all of you. I am the only sane inmate on Asylum Earth. And it's terrifying. I actually liked it. After picking a suitable drink, and this is a connection point. Anyway. Alright, we've tried tea. We've tried coffee. Now all that's left is to see how much wine tasting, gentle fragrance appreciating, poetic description Toto can come up with to describe a drink of literal children and people with certain health disabilities. I figured juice should be a safe bet. We did tea yesterday, Nia. I'm sorry. I picked your favorite juice flavor. Figured juice should be a safe bet. Looked like there were 3 different kinds of juice to choose from. Well, look at apple, lemonade. Always chose melon soda. None of these are my favorite, actually. I take a glass of orange juice every night. That's a true fact about me. You can pencil that down in the lore category of the wiki once I get big enough to put one. Yeah, I don't actually know anybody who takes apple juice. What's wrong with lemonade? I didn't say I disliked lemonade, I just said they told me to pick my favorite and that wasn't on there. Lemonade's perfectly fine. I got very good at the lemonade stand computer game when I was a small child. 'Cause they had it in the computer lab on one of the only websites we were allowed to go to. But it's not necessarily true. We didn't really... I'm an old enough man that I remember when we didn't really have comprehensive website blockers on our computer lab computers. Anyway, fine. We'll take some lemonade if you want it that badly here. Yes, we'd been staying here since yesterday. Which meant she probably already had the apple juice at least once. It was the local specialty, after all. So I decided to mix things up and go with some lemonade instead. Oh, that vitamin C was a great way to start the day. There's a lot of thought going into this, Toru. And yet we still don't know how much he's paying for it. Or what the weather's like outside, how many sugar cubes, how many lemons, how many ice cubes. There's calculus you gotta be running here, people. You are running a business. A business that's hosted on coolmathgames.com. I filled Mari's glass to the brim with citrusy goodness. Suitable drink. Somebody hears that so a lot of blood. Yeah, Nie's just jealous because she doesn't have any of her own. Is blood the main appeal, though? You shouldn't spend too much time looking at blood, otherwise it'll burn itself into your eyes and you'll just get these little green after images every time you look away. It's like being a doctor. Anyway, do you want some apple juice? The label made a big fuss of how this juice was made with locally sourced apples. It's good for the environment, and it supports small local farmers. What more can you ask for? I don't know why my dad let me play those games. Whenever I play those games, he's proud of me. Wait, your dad is proud of you sometimes? What's that like? I mean, come on, how could it not be delicious? Plus, apple juice was a classic morning staple. But it seemed like the safest choice. I filled Mari's glass to the brim with fresh apple juice. My friends let me play point-and-click computer games, and some of those games traumatized me, like in a that you play Phantasmagoria when you were 3 years old kind of way, or in a wait, what do you mean I had to use maple syrup to attach a fake mustache to impersonate a guy who doesn't have a mustache kind of way? After picking a suitable drink. Alright. One more, then we can make progress. A true man always chose melon soda. This carbonated soda was a staple throughout Japan. It was like a bright green nostalgia in a glass. I'd been drinking it ever since I was a kid, and I still hadn't grown tired of it. I filled Mari's glass to the brim with fizzy soda, pausing a couple of times so the foam didn't spill over the edge. You know, none of the options is water. That's a good point, Tatome. I guess we'll just never find out whether Mari can hydrate properly or not. Yeah, that's why she's so grumpy. She's just not hydrated properly. This soda probably won't fix that. And there we have it. Let's just skip ahead past here. Why we go to a Starbucks, tell the employees to guess what she wants, speak to the manager if they serve her the wrong thing, or misspell her name. You know, you'd think her, like, given name misspelling would be, you know, Mary. But actually she once got her name misspelled with 2 R's. She just never really recovered from that. Yeah, Starbucks. Man, Starbucks employees have it rough. You should... This is a little thing you should know. It's honestly really bad just ordering drinks from Starbucks in general. Especially if there's one of those, like, flashy Instagram drinks. Maui. Miwo. It's a whole different name. That's a whole different kettle of fish, in fact. Anyway, as I was saying, you should avoid, especially those really flashy Instagram drinks that include like 5, 10, God, even 15 pumps of ingredient X or Y. There. So any given Starbucks location features a very specific array of ingredients that are balanced to ensure that they have enough to make it through the end of the day. And of course, that's without getting into the extra labor we put on the workers for forcing them to put extra additional work in mixing up a custom drink instead of just grabbing one of the things they're taught specifically how to make. And you know what? It's gonna taste like you know it is. If you've heard of it on the internet, they picked it because it's picked for how good it looks on screen and not how well it actually tastes. And of course, the real nasty people are the ones who like insist they're not making custom drinks but are ordering off the secret menu. I hate those people. Are secret menus even a thing? I don't think they are. Yeah, people who get like all indignant when you don't recognize the name of the fucking weirdo rainbow drink they found on TikTok or Instagram or what have you. Honestly. Some people are just the absolute worst. Anyway, there's something going on in the game. I kinda just went down a rabbit hole for a second there. Yeah, well, I'm sure it was nothing important. Tota, would you like some soda this time?
Mari. Mari?
この人はトールじゃない。
Nope. Alright, we've been through all this already. I'll stop teasing you. I'll just skip ahead to where we dropped off last time. With our cast crew deciding to maybe do some script rewrites behind the director's back, as it were. Just then, the cellar door slammed open. Startled, everyone instantly fell silent. Mari rushed in, seeming excited. It was always the same. Every time. The same.
来たわ。トールが来た。
そうかい。それはよかった。
今度こそきっと本当のトールだと思うの。直感で感じるの。あれはきっとトールに間違いない。
She said it over and over. Same thing she always said.
申し訳ないけど、彼をきれいにして上へ運んでもらえない？
ああ、わかった。トシオくん、手伝ってくれるかい？
もちろんですとも。マリちゃんがここまで言うんだ。今度こそトールくんに間違いない。
Now that's a face you can trust right there.
トシオさんもそう思う？私も絶対そう思うの。
Mari, that's what you said about the last 15 totems you had us saw the head off of. What grounds could she possibly have had for claiming this? Yet after all these times, after all the disappointments, she still said it with the fervor of a young girl in love. No matter how big a smile Mari had on her face just then, No one could bring themselves to look her in the eye. I was shaking. First a little, then a lot. No, I was being shaken. Join us, Toru. Oh man, what did I turn into? Ryukishi07 writing. Hello, Detone VT. Welcome back to the stream. It's been a while. How you doing? Quite a bit happened, but I get the feeling we're about to get an actual exposition dump, so I hope you aren't too lost. The moment my brain realized the sounds were actually words, they had meaning, I came to. I've lurked from time to time. I'm sure you have. I imagine I get a lot of lurkers. Just feeling a bit more talkative today. Well, that's good. I mean, it would be hypocritical of me to give you shit for that, let me tell you. How long had I been asleep? Poke. Poke, poke. Eyes. So many eyes. Looking down at me. There, problem solved. I'd like to know, what's this guy down here doing? Who is that? Is that... Let's see, how short are these people? A bunch of strangers watching me as I lay flat on my back. I jumped up in fright.
なんだあなたたちは一体
Who are you people? I looked around for a familiar face. I didn't find any. They were men and women of all ages. The whole situation was utterly bizarre. What was this place? I mean, what the hell was I doing here? And for that matter, the hell was I? Or possibly, ooh. It was the Golden Witch Beatrice. That's what Maria heard. Alright, I'm done. I couldn't remember anything. Alright, that's... Alright. Which square on the visual novel bingo card is that? Alright, quit your belly aching.
無理に思い出そうとしないで。まずは深呼吸をして落ち着いて。
Don't forget to breathe. That's an important aspect of just staying alive in general, really.
君が聞きたいことは分かってる。自分は誰か、ここはどこか。
全部ゆっくり説明するさかい。落ち着いてや。
Just go ahead and calm your tits, Sonny Jam. I didn't know what they were talking about. How'd they expect me to just calm down? I wanted to give in to my urge to panic, but instead I did as they suggested and took a deep breath. The room should have been warmed by a heater, but the air was cold. I could feel it stinging the back of my nose. After the mystery was that the victim forgot how to breathe, case closed. I mean, I've seen some pretty dumb accidents in my day. I don't think that would even surprise me at all. I mean, not since that guy with the metal fishing rod tried to use it to recover an item stuck on an electric pole. That case was particularly gruesome. Not alone. I could see they weren't bad people.
教えてください。ここは一体。
You're in the Matrix. That's probably not
こ
it.
こは僕が経営するペンションシュプールだよ。雪深い信州の山奥さ。
Spud. Yes, we welcome you to Spud Lodge. We put all of the popcorn in the microwave.
シュプールの名に思い当たることは？
何も。っていうか、信州って山、ペンション。どうして僕はこんなところに。いや、そもそも僕は一体名前が思い出せない。
Mountains? What's mountains?
あなたの名前はトールよ。
トール？
I definitely won't suspect the fact that literally everyone is gathered in this tiny room. She's not suspecting much of anything, really. I mean, she's got a whole basement full of dead toadus down there, and she doesn't seem all that discouraged. Maybe she's just gone a bit cuckoo. You ever think of that? Do that. Toru. Toru. Toru? Toru. 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 Toru? Toru. Felt a scratching somewhere deep in my memory. I mouthed the word to myself over and over again. Toru. Toru.
僕の名前はトール。
そう。君はトール君。それが名前だ。
あなたはちょっとした事故で今記憶喪失になっているの。
記憶喪失？なんてこった。じゃあひょっとして皆さんは僕の知り合いか、あるいは家族なんですか？
I mean, come on, the resemblance is uncanny.
同宿者や。ここはペンションなんや。みんな冬の休暇を楽しもうとここにやってきたんや。
自己紹介をしよう。僕は小林二郎。このペンションのオーナーだよ。
The others introduced themselves in turn. We already know who they were, so I just kind of glanced over that. Good talk. When they were done, I calmly tallied it up and determined the group was made up of some law employees and 2 sets of guests.
これで全員ですか？
いや、もう一人おるんや。
マリさんっていう大学生の女の子なの。覚えてる？
マリ。
あなたのガールフレンドなの。あなたはマリさんと一緒にここへスキー旅行に来たのよ。
I was shocked. Shocked that I couldn't remember anything about this girl. Even though we were apparently close enough to have gone on an overnight ski trip together. Mari. Is my amnesia making me more open to suggestion? Because the more I thought about it, the more I came to feel that, yes, I did have a girlfriend named Mari. My head, it was filled with static. Like when a TV station has gone off the air. Like when a visual novel protagonist narrates in overly elaborated metaphors.
どうしよう。彼女のことを顔も全く思い出せないんです。
それは彼女も知ってるわ。だからとても悲しんでるわ。マリちゃんはあなたのためにずっと看病してたの。でもあなたが記憶喪失に陥っていることを知って激しいショックを受けてしまった。彼女の落ち込みようと言ったら見ている私たちの胸も潰れそうなほどだったわ。
I mean, technically nothing they're saying is a lie.
僕のガールフレンド。ずっと看病してくれてたのに。
instead of being anxious about losing my memory, I was saddened to learn that my condition had hurt the person I cared about the most.
なんてことだ。マリー、君を思い出してあげられなくて、本当にごめん。
You know, that's not usually how romance stories handle amnesia. I just be patient, jeez. Yeah, well, most romance stories also don't involve that many chainsaw beheadings. I mean, except for the really good ones, let's be fair.
信じ始めてるぞ。
What is he doing? He's starting to believe.
刷り込みみたいなものかしら。意外にうまくいくものね。
Maybe if we just lie hard enough, it will stop being a lie.
この人には気の毒だけど、今は力を借りましょう。
Eventually, I was able to get a basic handle on the situation. I'd hit my head in some sort of skiing accident, and then I, Toru, had lapsed into amnesia as a result. My girlfriend Mari had devoted herself to nursing me back to health. I'd woken from unconsciousness several times before, it seemed, and during those moments, it became clear that I'd forgotten all my memories. Even Mari's very name. She'd been left deeply hurt by this turn of events. Even now she was holed up in her room crying.
あなたも記憶がなくて気の毒とは思うの。でも、マリさんの気持ちも考えてあげてほしいの。
わかります。記憶がなくても、僕は今、マリが一番大切な人だと教えてもらうことができました。
You're very credible, you know that, Toru?
なら、僕は記憶なんかなくても、彼女の涙を拭ってやりたいんです。
ほら驚いた。今回はかなりの当たりやで。
あなた、静かに。
You shut your face. But he's just talking about Shaft, and we can dig it. I got up from my bed. I wanted to go see Mari straight away. But the three girls grabbed my arms and held me back.
あなたの気持ちは素晴らしいわ。でも待って。記憶喪失のあなたじゃ、かえって彼女を傷つけるだけだわ。
じゃあ、僕は一体どうすれば？
トール君、君の記憶がわずかだが戻りつつあるってことにしてほしいんだ。
You know, just a little bit of memory. Mari can have a little bit of memory. As a treat. Maybe we'll finally remember that she actually does like melon soda and she was just negging us earlier. My god, it's brilliant.
そうすれば、マリちゃんも希望が持てると思うの。
そうしたいのは山々ですけど、わずかほども記憶が戻らないことには。
そこは私たちみんなでフォローするよ。
私たちはトールくんという人をよく覚えてるの。だからトールくんならこう振る舞うというのを教えてあげられる。
Did she always sound like this? It sounds like she's putting on like way more of a voice. Am I just going insane? That's it's always a possibility, don't get me wrong. Wait, how do they know the Toru he used to be well? I mean, I think they mean like well enough to get us past the drinks puzzle, which really is what this entire case is about. And it just sounds the same. Alright, I won't push the issue.
君はユニークだったからね。シュプールに来た初日からよく覚えてるよ。
私たちの指示通りに動けば、マリちゃんはあなたの記憶が戻りつつあるように思い、どれほど救われることか。今日までの看病の恩返しに、マリさんにほんの少しだけ希望を見せるお手伝いをしてはくれないかしら。
I was already aware of just how fraught this situation was. Whenever the hive mind appears, I never know which one is talking. Could be any of them. I mean, I know they're not that distinct, but they do at least have name tags. Come on, put in a little effort. I was already aware of just how fraught this situation was. I'd get my memory back no matter what it took. That much I was sure of. But I didn't know how long that would take. Could 3 days? Or it could be 3 years. Or it could be 3 decades. Or maybe even 3 millennia. Or it could be 3 microseconds. Oh hey, there it is! I found it. We're good. So that day came. I thought that girl's name was Yaoi, but then you clarified it isn't, and now I don't know her anymore. Man, imagine being named Yaoi. I mean, really. Until that day came. I needed to give hope to Mari. I was going to wake from my coma, and assure her with some small signs that I was overcoming my amnesia. Even if I couldn't actually remember anything, it was the only way I could repay her for taking care of me for so long.
わかりました。マリを救うことができるのなら、何でも協力させてください。
Again, wasn't that an actress's name? That means someone deliberately chose that as their stage name. I mean, that I can almost imagine. I mean, you'd certainly get some attention from certain types of people. Everyone nodded and smiled warmly at my words. So it was decided. I, Toru, would pretend my memory was returning little by little. For Mari's sake. All my fellow lodge mates would assist me in acting and speaking like the Toru she'd once knew. Even if only for one day, we'd pretend that my memory was returning. We'd help reassure Mari. Okay, can someone say what the drink she likes already is? It's durian put through a blender. There's the answer. Can we all go now? Besides, I felt like spending time with Mari would be my best chance at regaining my memory. Time was already a-wasting. I needed to go see Mari as soon as possible. Someone I loved was hurting. And I couldn't let her be alone any longer. All my lodge mates made themselves scarce. Because waking me up was a privilege reserved for my girlfriend. I got back into bed and pretended I was just beginning to stir. Then, after a cute little knock, my beloved revealed herself.
おはよう、トール。
My heart ached. Because when I looked at her face, I didn't remember anything at all. But I quickly recognized that she must be Mari. Through a simple process of elimination, if nothing else. Her eyes gave it away. They seemed oblivious to everything but me. The one person who was most important to her.
おはよう、マリ。
Mari clearly never dreamed I'd be saying her name right now. She stood there, speechless for a moment, then fell to her knees with tears in her eyes. I rushed over and took hold of Mari's hands.
僕が君の顔を忘れるわけないじゃないか。
He said after forgetting her face. Liar, liar, liar.
トール。本当にトールなの？トールなの？
Mari clung to me as she broke into ragged sobs. I crouched down next to her and held her slender body in my arms. We were so close that we could feel the warmth of each other's skin. My stupid fucking brain still couldn't remember her. Alright, brain. I don't like you. You don't like me. But I need you to cooperate with me on this, so I can get back to killing you with beer. It was so frustrating. I couldn't forgive myself. My eyes filled with tears, and I started to weep. Then I told her the story that Kobayashi and the others had cooked up for me. That I could remember her name, her face, that she was the most important person in my life, but that the rest of memories were slow to return. That trying too hard to remember gave me horrible headaches, so I just need to let my memories come back in their own time. But, with or without my memories, I cherished her more than anything in this world. I told her all these things, one by one.
わかったわ。他の記憶はゆっくりでいいから。
仮に戻らなかったとしても何も落胆することはないよ。
どうして？
僕と君がこうして一緒にいること、そしてこれからも一緒にいて新しい記憶を一緒に重ねていくことが何よりも大切なんだよ。それに比べたらこれまでの記憶なんて大したものじゃない。
私は嫌だな。トールのたどたどしい口説き台詞。トールが思い出さなかったらもうからかえなくなっちゃうもん。
And that was pretty cringy, Toto, I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh no! Cringy!
そういう記憶は戻っても戻らないふりをするよ。
I feel like Toru, Mari, and everyone else might as well be tied to this cursed lodge for all eternity. I thought they were just dead. This is the afterlife. Hell is just being in a ski lodge with a bunch of strangers. Was it cringy, though? I mean, cringe is a state of mind. I must not cringe. Cringe is the mind killer. Cringe is the little death that brings total oblivion. Yeah, it's okay if they don't.
トールとまた会えたんだから、それでいい。トールだ。本物のトールだ。
I still couldn't remember Mari's name or face. She was completely Death Note proof. But I did recall having someone who was very dear to me. It was too faint to be called a memory, but the palm of my hand, it still remembered that person's warmth. Even though I had an accident and was just lying there, I'd still managed to hurt the most important person in the world to me. How many tears had she spilled at my bedside, not knowing if I'd ever wake? I'd never again give her reason to weep for me. Until my memory returned, I'd surround her with love, love, love. Ask your mom or ask your dad. I clenched my fists behind her back and swore this to myself. We walked downstairs, hand in hand. There was what looked like a lounge on the first floor. The rest of our lodgemates were all there, waiting for us. Then, as if we were the bride and groom making our grand entrance at our wedding reception, everyone burst into wild applause.
何よ、どういうこと？普段通りにしてほしいって言ったじゃない。
Yeah, I saw that coming. Hooray! Now we just gotta throw uncooked rice at them and then let all the birds eat it until they explode. Mari seemed confused, but her face was pleasantly flushed. The small hand nestled in mine began to sweat, and I felt Mari's pulse quicken.
よ、ご両人、お似合いのカップルやで。
おめでとうマリちゃん。やっとトール君に会えたね。
二人とも末永くお幸せに。
Yay. As the three girls started cheering, the whistles and applause ramped up even more. Seriously, it was just like a wedding. Seeing this, I realized just how worried everyone here had been about Mari. And I was reminded of the toll my amnesia had taken on her.
マリ、今日まで迷惑をかけて。
いいの。全然いいのよ。
Mari's face was suffused with a happy glow.
マリちゃん、そこでガバーッとキスするんや。キス。
Now kiss.
あなた、はしゃぎすぎです。
若者がはしゃがんでどないするんや。若気のイタリアもフランスも若者の特権やで。
Can you imagine if everything was the same but we insisted on calling it Italian kissing instead of French kissing? Would that be like the most fucked thing in the world? You'd probably bite your tongue before you got a chance to stick it in the other person's mouth and spread all your germs everywhere. Everyone laughed out loud, including, of course, Mari. She suddenly looked at me and smiled. Next thing I knew, she was cradling my head in her hands and pressing her soft lips against mine. Everyone in the lounge whooped and hollered and urged us on. I was a little surprised by Mari's boldness, but then again, she'd been waiting for this miraculous day for a long time now. We finished making our grand entrance down the stairs, then headed for the dining room, surrounded by our well-wishers.
あの人、本当にトールくんじゃないかしら。
違うだろう。第一、本物より女の扱いがうまいぜ。
Okay, that was incredibly accurate, but also completely uncalled for. It made me feel hurt, made me feel inadequate.
どうかんや。本物のトール君よりプレイボーイやで。
Mari made an announcement once everyone was in the dining room. To wit, while she was glad everyone was so excited, she'd come here for a ski trip, not a wedding. So from this point forward, she declared, things would proceed as usual in Spure Lodge. Everyone agreed and sat down in their favorite chairs to relax.
トール、ここに座ろう。
君たちの分の食事もすぐに運ぶよ。ああ、うちはドリンクバーなんだ。飲み物は好きなのを選んでくれるかい？
へえ、いろいろな種類があるみたいだな。
Oh god, her nerves are about to touch. Everybody take cover!
どうしたのマリ？
なんでもない。
I was glancing up at the drink bar when Mari gave me a strange look. I couldn't be sure, but it seemed like she was conflicted.
マリは座ってて。僕が取ってくるよ。
いいよ。トールこそ座。
じゃあ次の機会にお願いするよ。今回は僕がマリの分を見繕ってあげる。
それは嬉しいけど、トールに私が好きそうな飲み物がわかるの？
This is the golden land we were all waiting for. I mean, the golden land was just being dead, so I guess that all checks out.
まあまあ、僕に任せて座ってて。
Mari gave me another strange look, as if she was a mother sending a young child off on his first solo errand. I wondered if I'd been that unreliable in the past. In which case, maybe it was a good thing that I'd lost my memory. It was like a fresh start, a chance to become a better version of me. The drink bar was stocked with juice, coffee, tea, and more. And more? It's kind of fun wrestling over which one to bring back to Mari. But I already knew the answer. A drink my former self had once made to please Mari. Earlier, the others had told me how to prepare it. That would make her happy. Thank you for the hydrate redeem. Let's see if Todo can't follow our instructions as well. Apparently on our first day here, I'd made it for her, and she'd been delighted by it. Winnow gave me a look that said, "Don't screw this up, Todo." You inconsolable fuck up. I felt like a contestant on a game show, and if I answered this question right, I'd win a grand prize, a luxurious trip to Hawaii. If only. I grabbed the tea and did as I'd been told. The old me seemed to have been quite mischievous. I was here on a trip with my girlfriend. A little playful teasing was to be expected in the mornings.
マリ、お待たせ。
ずいぶん手間をかけてたみたいだけれど、何を持ってきてくれたのかしら。
It's tea, can't you read the sign?
なんだと思う？当ててみて。
I placed the cup in front of her. At a glance, it was easy to tell it was tea.
紅茶じゃないの？
Is this her Passione initiation ritual? That seems like a bit more than just a bit of light ripping between dates, but it does seem like the sort of thing you'd need to be dating to get away with.
何の紅茶か当ててみて。
Mari laughed and smiled at me, but a single tear began to form at the corner of her eye. Right. This was a little tea quiz I'd come up with for her once. Tea quiz. What is the first letter of T? The correct answer, by the way, was a combination of 3 different teas. It was Toru's original blend, a mixture of Darjeeling, Uva, and Keeman. It's not Darjeeling. Well, then how about Uva? Nope. Still wrong. You don't know the taste of tea at all, Mari. What? Oh, then give me the right answer. The group had told me about this affectionate exchange between 2 lovebirds. It was a memory she'd never forget, they said. Mari's cheeks flushed as the tears finally began to fall. She was smiling.
おかえり、トール。私、ずっと待ってたよ。
Quiz sounds like gaslighting to me. What about tea? Yeah, clearly this is the most monstrous thing a human being has ever done to another. Anyway. Now we're not going to get our heads sawed off.
マリは泣き虫だな。みんな見てるよ。
別にいい。見られたっていいよ。だって、トールが帰ってきてくれたんだもん。
After breakfast, we decided to head straight to the slopes. We went skiing alone. There was a chance Mari might find out I hadn't actually gotten my memory back. After all, it was just the 2 of us. Mari would probably have a lot she'd want to talk about. And I didn't want to mess anything up by accidentally saying or doing the wrong thing. That's why everyone had planned this in advance. It wouldn't be just the two of us. We'd all be going to the slopes. Together.
いいんじゃないかな。楽しそうだし。
私は嫌なんだけど。
わしら同じ釜の飯食った仲や。もう家族も同然やないか。
Yeah, you eat one piece of bread together, now you're family. That's how it works in Japan, don't you know? The bread-based familial system is a vital tool of societal strengthening.
旅ってそういうのを楽しむのが醍醐味よね。いいじゃんマリちゃん、みんなで行こうよ。ご飯だってみんなで一緒の方が美味しいし。
せやせや、旅は道連れとはまさにこのことやで。なあトール君。
マリちゃんは存分に滑り放題だろうけど、トール君は帰りの運転の体力も考えて遊ばなくちゃならないんだぜ。
せやせや、運転はわしに任せて後部座席で二人きりのんびりくつろいだらええ。
Is that so?
トール君もまだ本調子じゃないんだろ。彼に車を運転してもらうのはちょっと無理があるんじゃないかい。
Toru doesn't actually remember what a car is, that's what they're covering for. He still thinks it's a type of pasta.
万が一にもマリを事故に遭わせるわけにはいかないんだ。ここは加山さんたちのお誘いに乗ろうよ。
そういうことなら。
I finally agreed, albeit reluctantly. And so we headed to the slopes with 3 different groups of people from Spewed Lodge. Kayama's car was a luxury sedan, spectacularly ill-suited for mountain back roads. But the back seat was spacious and comfortable. Oh, so comfortable. Stretched my legs all the way out. If it weren't for Kayama's constant bragging about his self-made wealth, it would have been a 5-star experience. Unfortunately, that did cost it 5 stars. It's really annoying, let me tell you. A wondrous expanse of snow greeted us when we arrived at the slopes. 2 of us were so excited we ran right out onto that carpet of white. Same went for the 3 girls. Self-made wealth at the cost of thousands of innocent souls. Yeah, that's what self-made wealth means. You take innocent souls and you work for yourself to turn them into money. This is to enjoy some easy runs down the slope. They are totally seamless. Nobody noticed a thing. Anyway, crimes. Whereas Keiko and I took advantage of those same excellent snow conditions to wipe out and go rolling down the hill. We did it so often we ended up looking like snowmen. Do you think they bumped into each other at any point and got rolled up into like a Kamari? Which one's Keiko? Keiko's the fat one. We all frolicked in the snow until we were starving. And then we died because you don't want to be starving out on the slopes. And headed inside for a break. Of course, the ski slopes are the perfect place to eat ice cream. That's because everywhere is the perfect place to eat ice cream. Mr. and Mrs. Kobayashi were there waiting for us with an all-you-can-eat cheese fondue lunch. The thing about being dead is that you don't have to count calories anymore. You do still have to pay for things yourself, though. To no one's surprise, Kayama took the all-you-can-eat part. Quite literally. Guess I'll buy some tomorrow. I'd encourage it, but you know, stay budget conscious. Finally, something even those of us on Team Snowman could fully enjoy. And Mari seemed to be having a good time, and Mari's never had a good time in her life. Of course, she didn't have a life anymore, so that would explain it. After all, it must have been more fun to tackle the advanced slopes with Kaneko and the others than to be stuck with someone like me who could barely ski his way out of a paper bag. You'd think a paper bag would be pretty easy to ski out if you could just use your poles to jab people. I mean, Toto would understand that better than anyone. Perhaps worried that I was feeling left out, Mari insisted the two of us spend the afternoon relaxing together in a coffee shop. Kamaitachi no Yoru, coffee shop AU. Slow burn, 550k plus words. Toru/Mari. And then they tagged every other character who appears in the entire novel, including Tanaka and Mikimoto as separate characters. Even though, like, they get like a combined total of 10 lines. Seriously, people, think about what you're actually advertising before you do. If we talked about me, of course, odds were I'd be found out. Totomari is more likely to think that Toru slashes Mari. Toru's never slashed anybody in his life. Or been a top for that matter. So instead I asked Mari for skiing tips, and she was more than happy to oblige. Seeing her so talkative was a pleasure in and of itself. Eventually everyone else from Spur joined us. We spent the hours until evening casually chatting inside a cozy cafe. Started Midoriya slashed anyone. No, but I did one-arm shoulder throw a culprit once. That was kind of fun. Fun, Mari. Are you feeling it now, Miss Mari? Are you feeling it now, Miss Mari? Are you having fun, Miss Mari? You wanted to, but you weren't able to. No, I don't believe in murder. It's very hard to clean blood stains out of this coat, don't you know?
もちろん。トールは？
僕だって楽しいよ。こんなにも楽しいことって生まれて初めてだよ。
All one day of it.
記憶のない人に言われてもね。
Mari, don't steal my jokes. They're all I have left. The others burst out laughing when Mari said that. And then the entire restaurant started laughing. Everyone seemed thrilled to see her in such a good mood.
あら？空が急に薄暗くなってきましたね。
天気予報によると今夜からだいぶ荒れるらしいっちゅう話や。
Yeah, this is the real ironic twist at the end of the case. Even though everyone is already dead, they still get snowed in and still get stuck with a murderer. Tanaka's just going to spontaneously manifest out of nowhere just to get killed again. When you die in the Golden Land, where do you go? The Platinum Land?
シュプールの人にも脅されたりしたよね。下手したら数日は帰れないかもって。
Already stuck in an ice cream store within a lodge. At least there's no risk that you'd starve.
まあ、数日どころじゃ済まないんだけどね。かなこ、
This outfit's a little comfy. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see them before this. Look at that hat. It's got ears. It's an ear hat, Otome. And your hair looks terrible, I can relate. Had Kaneko just slipped up? I wasn't sure, but the rest of the group suddenly looked super uncomfortable. Mari turned to everyone with a smile and tried to clear away the tension.
そうね。スキーを楽しめるのは確かに今日限り。
Suki daisuki.
天気予報なんてよく外れるさ。きっと明日も晴れるよ。
ありがとう、トール。でもいいの。私は今日のスキーで思いっきり満喫できたから。
そうかい？マリがいいならいいんだけど。
うん、いいの。これが最後のスキーで構わない。飾らない素直な自分でこうして楽しめたんだから。
Your goggles are very shiny. Mari rested her head on my shoulder and looked up at me. Had she somehow managed to get drunk on the white wine and the fondue? And we've been fonduing like animals in here. We have some ice cream now. I want some ice cream. When do I get some ice cream? What, did you still have a residual skier's high? And I tilted my head and rested it atop hers. What's your favorite ice cream, Doctor? There's this joint. My aunt owns a beach house out on the coast. And there's a joint like a 15-minute drive from there. It sells this dessert that's like a ball of solid chocolate filled with chocolate ice cream and that's served like drizzled zigzag pattern with hot fudge. I think it's goddamn delicious. Like crack it open with the butt of your serving spoon and it just spills out. That's a lot of chocolate. I'm telling you, Nia doesn't know what she's missing. Now that she's gone, I can insult her all I want, the big fool. The doofus. The goober. The knucklehead McSpazatron. The nerd. The dweeb. The dork. Okay, she actually is gone. Okay. But yeah, it's a frozen, like, ball, but it's covered in hot sauce, hot chocolate sauce, hot fudge sauce. I don't think it's fudge sauce, actually. It's not thick enough. So you get this, like, a real contrast on the inside of your mouth if you eat it properly. It's delicious, let me tell you. And so we could spend time relaxing together, communicating the way only lovers could. The warmth of our bodies. Okay, Toru, this isn't that kind of visual novel. I'm gonna need you to keep it in your pants, buddy. Before long, the small talk trailed off. Everyone gave themselves over to the pleasant fatigue that always followed a good ski. I kind of feel like chocolate ice cream usually isn't exactly refreshing, though. What kind of ice cream is refreshing? That's not really a feeling I associate with ice cream. Ice cream is like a thing you get when you wanna get something that's, you know, dense and sweet and savory at the same time. That's what I do. Fruit ice cream is usually refreshing. I don't get a lot of fruit ice cream, really. Get a lot of fruit yogurt, though. I don't really associate that with being refreshing either. I mean, those are both creamed dairy products, so I can't imagine they're that far off.
で、みんなスキーは満喫できたんかい？
Just passion fruit ice cream, it's very nice. I would be gobsmacked if they sell anything like that at the local joint, but I'll keep an eye out, I guess. Anyway, our chat is slowly turning into a cat cafe. Gonna have to get the spray bottle. Well, folks, everyone got their fill of skiing and ice cream. Kayama was looking at his watch. Fun seemed to be coming to an end.
ぼちぼち時間や。黒なる前に引き上げとこうか。
もうこんな時間なんだね。
ま、たっぷり雪だるまも楽しめたしね。
Yeah, Team Snowman. I voted for Team Snowman at the last Splatfest.
稽古はともかく、トールくんはかなり筋が良かったわよ。マリちゃんの教え方がいいんじゃない？
They didn't even ask us if we wanted to build a snowman, we just kind of got set there.
愛の無知に決まってるでしょ？
Is that what the chainsaw is for? Is that why you just had that lying around? Yes, all of the clues are coming together. Yeah, heavy on the tough, light on the love. But Mario and I had a wonderful time today regardless. Slopes weren't just for skiing after all. There was nothing better than sitting in a warm room together, snuggling up as we enjoyed the winter scenery outside. Kayama whipped out his gold card and covered everyone's tab. Yep. Sometimes you need to just lie about having amnesia to stop your girlfriend from chopping your head off. For everything else, there's MasterCard. As we headed out to the parking lot, I noticed the wind felt colder than before. Stronger. Seemed like our window for skiing had indeed passed. But Mari and I had been able to enjoy it while it had lasted. After the heated indoors, the cool breeze was a refreshing change of pace. And on the drive back, Mari quickly fell asleep, her small hand nestled in mine. I asked her name, but she didn't respond. She seemed worn out by the day's activities. The snow outside kept getting heavier, and the windshield wipers had to speed up to keep pace. Looked like we'd picked a good time to leave. Maybe it was the pleasant feeling of fatigue, but the drive back was quiet compared to that morning's drive. It's like we're going home from a field trip. Except that it smells marginally better.
マリちゃんは寝てしもたんか？
はい、すごくはしゃいでいたので疲れたんだと思います。
Yeah, she's all tuckered out.
違うわ。やっと会えたトールさんだもの。嬉しかったのよ。
それを認めるのもなんだか照れくさいです。
ありがとうな、トール。もしマリちゃんが納得してくれたら、すべて君のおかげや。
納得も何も、マリは心の底から今日を楽しんだと思います。
私もそう思います。こんな安らかな顔、どれほど久しぶりに見たことか。
せやな。わしもこんな可愛い子やったって、名護を忘れとった気がするわ。
Snow kept piling up on the windshield. Everything beyond the reach of the wiper's arc was blanketed in white. The sedan was well heated, but even the slight draft that leaked in through the seams in the car door was bone-chillingly cold.
カヤマさん、ふと思ったんですけど。
なんや、うちの会社の待遇に興味あるんかいな。
僕たちは一体いつからシュプールに滞在しているんですか？
まあ、ロングバケーションやしな。みんなそこそこに泊まっとるんや。
加山さんはマリとは以前から面識を。
なんでそんなこと気になるんや。
加山さんに限らずかなこちゃんたちもみんなマリのことをよく知っていました。それこそ長い付き合いであるかのように。
それはやな。
みんなリピーターなのよ。
リピーター？ああ、シュプールの。
そう、オーナーである小林さんの人柄に惹かれて、みんな何度も宿泊に来てるリピーターなのよ。
I mean, the food's really good too if you, manage to remember to fish all the cockroaches out of it ahead of time.
せやからわしらな、何度かおとるもんで面識があるわけや。
僕って何かの事故にあったんですよね。
まあな、ただ具体的なことはわしらも知らんのや。
マリは記憶喪失の僕をずっと看病してくれていたと聞きました。
知らん。わしはみんなから伝え聞いただけや。
僕は一体いつ事故に遭ったんです？そして何日間あのベッドで眠っていたんですか？皆さんの様子からは相当長い間あのベッドで昏睡していて、それをマリが看病してくれていたように感じました。
Wasn't that a little strange? Mari and I were cash-strapped college students on a quick ski trip, not some rich foreign tourists taking a month-long getaway. We only should have been at that lodge for a couple of nights. Even if I'd had an unexpected accident on our first day, Mari should have been taking care of me for 2 days at most. But Mari and the others, they all acted like I'd been asleep for years. Come back, Toru. This whole time, I've been waiting for you. There was something behind Mari's words. Something that went far deeper than the loss of a couple Twitch decided. The actual I don't even have ads turned on. My ads manager pretty clearly says I'm not supposed to have any mid-roll ads whatsoever. There was only one. Twitch, you're going to be getting a strongly worded letter from me after this, I swear to all that is holy. Why are you the worst platform on the internet? There was something behind Mari's words. Something that went far deeper than the loss of a couple nights. That was why I'd been sitting there, wondering if I'd actually been in a coma for the past several years. Those tears when Mari had said my name. I didn't think a mere night or two spent caring for me would merit such waterworks. But if you'd been in a coma for several years, your legs would have atrophied and you wouldn't be able to go out skiing. A conundrum. Mari had looked like she'd been reunited with a long-lost lover. Like she'd spent years not knowing if I was alive or dead.
まさか僕はあのペンションでずっと昏睡状態だったんですか？
Toru in a coma. I know that it's serious, so I wouldn't want anything to happen to him. Do you really think he'll pull through? Boop. Boop. I don't know anything about whether or not you've been in a coma this whole time. Kayama seemed flustered. I couldn't see her face, but Haruko's voice was calm as she started to respond. So calm that it was a little scary.
トールさん、
Up until now, Haruko had been sitting in her seat, looking straight ahead as we talked. But now, she turned. No, she effortlessly twisted her entire body around to face me, and she looked me dead, oil, in the eye.
何ですか、春子さん。
彼女にとってはほんの数日でも
She kept staring, her eyes boring into mine.
数年の長さに感じたということもあるんじゃないかしら。
そういうこともあるでしょうか。
あるわよ。恋人を看病するなら誰だってそうでしょ。
I mean, I suppose technically I wouldn't know, but also, like, come on, really?
そうかもしれません。
I could barely respond. Had love made every moment seem like an eternity for her? Sorry, I just took another glance at my ads manager. I can't figure out why that happened. I would very much like it to not. I wanted to be satisfied with that answer, but I couldn't shake the discomfort I felt. It was like a pebble stuck in my shoe. I suddenly glanced up at the rearview mirror. Kayama's eyes met mine. Then he quickly looked away. There was nothing vague about it anymore. I sensed the stirrings of something in my mind. Something strange, elusive, eerie even. There had been an accident. I'd suffered amnesia and had been sleeping for a long time. But there was no way anyone would take a comatose person on a ski trip, of course. So my accident must have happened at Spur Lodge, and I'd been sleeping in a guest bed here ever since. How long had I been at Spur then? It wasn't clear, but I figured no more than a week. I made a clip but closed the tab before fully uploaded. Tragic, and the clip's feature breaks all the time anyway. I'm sure it did something weird. And in all that time, they never thought to take me to a hospital? They just let a comatose person lay there at the lodge? Normally, an ambulance should have brought me to a hospital on the day of the accident, and then charged me $60,000 for the trip. If I assumed we would snowed in by a blizzard until the day before I woke, that could explain why I was still there in that guest room. But then why didn't they take me to the hospital today when the weather was nice? Were the roads still unplowed? Nope. I mean, we'd been able to make it to the slopes today, hadn't we? Ski slopes were a popular tourist destination. As such, all the main roads would have been cleared quickly and efficiently. And they'd left me here, at the lodge. From the moment I'd woken up, the only topic of conversation at Spur had been Mari. Normally you'd expect everyone to say, "I'm glad to see you're doing better," or "How are you feeling?" Looking back on it, there'd been nothing of the sort. My lodge mates all but ignored the fact that I'd suffered a serious amnesia-inducing injury, or the possibility that I might have a brain tumor or something. Instead, they'd asked for my help in making sure Mari wasn't sad. It had been that way all morning. Come to think of it, that behavior had continued during our fun little ski outing. All to make sure Mari had as magical a day as possible. Mr. and Mrs. Kayama, the girls, the Spur staffers, all of them working towards the same goal. What was it they'd asked me to do? To not make Mari any sadder. What was it they'd said? You're Toru. Don't make Mari any sadder. I want you to pretend your memory is returning. I glanced back up at the rearview mirror. Both the Kayamas were looking at me now, and they didn't look away. They kept perfectly still, staring me right in the eye. Come on, blink, damn you! Blink! Blink! Dang it, I lose. I felt a shiver run along my spine. This time I was the one who had to look away. Afterward, silence filled the sedan. There wasn't a cough. Not a single noise. It was completely dark outside. I felt trapped, as if this window was now the entirety of my world. A world with no one else in it, except for Mr. and Mrs. Kayama staring at me in that rearview mirror. And Mari, holding my hand as she slept peacefully next to me.
見えてきたで。シュプールの明かりや。
Indeed, the lodge lights floated there in the darkness ahead of us. Spur Lodge. I had been told that it was located in Shinshu, that it was proud of its restaurant-quality food. But was this really a lodge? The guests, the employees, this whole place, everything about it. I was plagued by the notion that it existed only for Mari's benefit. Everyone here was only interested in whether she had a good day or not. A world that existed only for Mari. Such a preposterous thing to be thinking. Yeah. Mari moaned slightly and rested her head on my shoulder. Desmond Dracula, thank you for the follow. I'm certainly sufficient enough to know to warrant it. Hello. Hello, welcome to the stream. Mystery games are always difficult because I'm not sure how much to explain when someone new shows up. We're in a car. Yay. Mari moaned slightly and rested her head on my shoulder. So is that a Nintendo Switch down there? We don't even have to go inside. We could just do some gaming. That'd be neat. Mari moaned slightly and rested her head on my shoulder. Hey, a good friend recommended me to you. I bet he did. Hello, Desmond. Thank you for showing up. I've lurked on your streams a few times, but I've never actually found it within myself to say hello. But hello, welcome to stream. Like Kamaitachi no Yoru. Extremely old mystery game. I could feel her warmth once more. I didn't sense any lies, any deceit in that warmth. And I suddenly remembered how at times like this I used to love looking down at the nape of her neck. Hmm? Hmm. Hmm? Hmm. 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 Mari had seemed to honestly enjoy spending time with me today. There were no lies or deceit in that either. I was sure of it. What's that gunshot sound effect we just heard? A slight jostle as the car came to a stop woke Mari.
到着やで、マリちゃん。お疲れさん。
やだ、私ったらずっと寝てたの。
ずっとぐっすり眠ってたわよ。遊び疲れてたのね。
Oh, I don't want to lose all the time you could have had on our drive back. Start over, do it again. This toad is not real. Well, game we tried. Sorry, Toto. Guess we're gonna have to replace you. I made no sense to anyone who showed up late, I'm sorry.
私ったら恥ずかしい。
Did she do that? Mari made an embarrassed gesture. I'm imagining she like did that thing where you sort of knock yourself about the forehead and go, tee-hee. She made an embarrassed gesture and her cheeks flushed slightly. I squeezed her hand, still nestled in mine.
ってずっと握っててくれたの？
マリが話さない限り。
ありがとう、トール。今日のあなた、100点満点だったわ。
A plus, but unfortunately it's only a 95%. You need a do-over.
何の学科の100点満点？
Not an S, though. Can't never get an S rank. How are we gonna collect all the emblems now? We need them to get all the secret stuff in the Chow Garden.
トールによるマリ様エスコート教習の。
It's not a course, that's a novel. Stop mixing your metaphors.
じゃあ、ハンコをもらわないとね。
あげる。
With a mischievous laugh, Mari planted a kiss on my cheek. For such a prize, a knight could easily spend a sleepless night standing vigil for his princess. Unfortunately, I'm not a knight, I'm a detective. So it doesn't count. As we stepped out of the snow, I could see the storm had turned into a full-on blizzard.
寒い。早く行こう。
Mari rushed to the front door of the lodge. As I pulled our gear from the trunk, I thanked Kayama for driving us.
さっきはすみませんでした。変な話をして。
ええんやええんや。若者は細かいことなんか気にせんで、今を精一杯楽しんだらええんや。
You probably shouldn't be sweating like that. That's gonna freeze to your skin and we're not gonna be able to get it off. Princess Knight romances are some of my favorite, but I'm not getting that vibe here. When you say Princess Knight romances, do you mean like literally, or are you more in the sense protector and protected thing? Don't ask why I'm asking this.
そうですね。それに、マリに聞けば済むことでした。
Both. Okay, duly noted.
トールさん、
はい。
Yes.
あなたは朝マリさんが起こしに来た時、なんて言ったか覚えてる？
What was it I'd said? Haruko's voice. The look she was giving me. She was smiling. But there was also a tone of gentle rebuke there. The Princess Knight stories also have a general devotion involved aside from the protection. Fascinating. Yeah, I suppose that would be more of a grounds for an actual stable relationship rather than just needing a woman who gets kidnapped a lot. That'd be exhausting.
僕と君がこうして一緒にいること、そしてこれからも一緒にいて新しい記憶を一緒に重ねていくことが何よりも大切なんだよ。それに比べたらこれまでの記憶なんて大したものじゃない。
Wow, that sure was a lot of words. Did I say all that? I'm surprised my throat survived. I was a little surprised she could recite every word back to me like that. But that was what I'd said, alright. I checked with the others first to see if it was an okay thing to tell her, and they'd agreed to it. I'd forgotten all about it until Haruka would reminded me just now. She immediately continued speaking.
いいじゃない、細かいことは。それより、夜は長いのよ。素敵なディナーに、談話室での温かな時間。そして、
Plot twist, she's also going to ask us to pick out a drink for dinner, and we didn't rehearse that one. And that's when the melon soda will come back and save us all. I'm telling you, it's gonna work.
せやで、今夜頑張らな。画量転生を書くっちゅうもんや。男らしくバシーンと一発決めてこんかい。
Kayama gave a vulgar, teasing chuckle. But Haruka didn't join in with her husband's laughter. I mean, come on, be honest, would you? Yeah, I didn't think so.
お願いだから、トールさん、マリさんのために、もう少しだけ力を貸して。
All we gotta do is make it to the end of the day, and then we all pass peacefully on to the great beyond the beyond. For Mari's sake. This whole world was for Mari's sake.
それが大切な人のためになるならもちろんです。
ありがとう。
The wind picked up, drowning out anything else I tried to say. Haruka kept staring at me silently, her expression unchanging. Mari motioned for me to hurry. I bowed, then grabbed our things and rushed over to meet her.
頭が冴え始めとる。記憶が戻るのも時間の問題やで。
多分、もう戻ってると思うわ。
まだ戻っとらんやろ。兆しは見えとるが。
うん。もう戻ってる。
Kayamas were covered in whites, but they didn't pay the snow any mind. They were too focused. They were tofu. Yes, they were tofu. That was why they were covered in white. They're actually tofu people from the planet Tofutron 5. I've cracked the case once again. Truly, I am a genius. They were too focused on watching Toru as he walked away.
マリちゃんはご機嫌なんや。あと少しで騙し通せるんや。
If we manage to pull off this con, we'll never have to work again. We can't lose this now.
彼をこれ以上騙し続けるのは不可能よ。すべてを話して協力を求めるべきだわ。
理解できるわけあらへん。
理解できなくても納得してもらわないと。彼だってもうシュプールから逃れることなんてできないのだから。
Spewed is an inescapable prison that traps the souls of the damned. And the Swedish, judging by the accents. Mari headed to her room, saying she wanted to fix her makeup. In reality, she was probably just tired and wanted to lie down until dinner time. She asked me to stay with her, but I refused, saying I could use a bit of a rest myself. Then I headed back down to the lounge and made myself comfortable over my heater. It was about time we all had a little chat. And apparently I wasn't alone in that thinking.
トール君、少しいいかい？
Not just Kobayashi. Kyoko, Toshio, and Midori were there with him too. The three girls also came down the stairs. Everyone was here except Mari. As was everyone who'd been surrounding me when I woke up. My lobmates' expressions were all tense. Some looked nervous, others menacing. But I doubted they had any intention of harming me. Not if I was right about the crazy theory that had suddenly coalesced in my mind.
マリは疲れて寝ています。呼びに行くまで起きないでしょう。
ありがとう、トール君。君のおかげでマリちゃんは本当に楽しい一日を過ごせたよ。
We did the thing we are accomplished, hooray for us.
僕の役目はいつまでなんです。
Total silence. Some people were stunned speechless, while others just shook their heads quietly. Seemed like there was no more hiding it.
戻ったの記憶。
帰りの車の中でおぼろげと。僕の彼女は長い髪が苦手とかで伸ばしてくれませんでしたから。
肩を寄せ合っているうちに思い出してしまったのね。
My real girlfriend's hair was short, which meant that I could always see the nape of her neck when she leaned her head on my shoulder. I remembered how lovely that used to be.
マリの髪はとても長い。うなじなんか見えるわけがない。
愛の力か。恋人のことは忘れるわけないもんな。
Is that why you kept trying to kill Kayama? Hey, it's like they're doing that thing where they reference things that have occurred in other routes. It's almost like this is a complete product or something.
ごめんなさい、トールくん。謝るわ。トールくんと呼び続けるのも申し訳ないわ。あなたの本当の名前は何というの？
僕の本当の名前もトールなんです。でもおそらく名字は違うでしょう。僕のフルネームは国立トールです。
At least it's not Kamai again. Okay, if you get stabbed, you have permission to write whatever part of the killer's name you find easiest to remember. Which was told to Kamai. No, we've been down that road already. It never ends well.
そうか。名前が同じだったからこそ、君は僕たちの話に違和感を覚えず信じてくれたんだな。
偶然にも僕の彼女の名前もマリなんです。ただし名字は西川ですが。
What are the odds? Who are these people?
なんちゅう偶然や。これはこれで奇跡やで。
A miracle is just something that has a low probability of occurring.
なるほどね。道理でうまく話が進みすぎると思ってた。これまでの人も大抵名前で違和感を覚えて記憶が戻るケースが多かったし。でもあなたは本当に素敵なトールくんだったよ。
My Toru was in the top percentage of Torus. That's not saying much, though, seeing as how Toru is.
引き続き君のことをトール君と呼ぶが構わないかい？
構いません。僕の名前でもありますし。
マリちゃんには記憶が戻ったことは言ったのかい？
いえ、多分それは言わない方がいいのでしょう。
Remember, kids, lying is always the answer. Neil nodded silently.
それが賢明だ。君が今日一日を台無しにするようなことをしてくれたら、俺はまた君を殺さなきゃならなかった。
Bum, bum, bum.
恐ろしい話ですが、僕の想像の一部が裏付けられました。
You're being remarkably chill about this. Turns out Toru was actually being written by Joss Whedon the whole time. I looked around at everyone. My imagination had been running wild as I tried to unravel the mystery of Spur Lodge. And I'd come up with a wildly implausible deduction. No, a delusion. I mean, could you even call something so irrational a deduction? A deductible, maybe?
皆さんはマリのためにトールという男の代役を探していました。おそらく本当のトールはスキーの事故か何かで死別したのでしょう。
Even as Mari had grieved the loss of her lover, they'd hoped to give her the miracle of Toru reborn. Ski Sukida. Ski. Ski.
そしてトールに似た男を見つけるたび、その代役を務めさせようと目論んできた。
That should be a weird JoJo stand cry. Suki. Suki! Honestly, probably just be confusing.
トシオさんの話によるならば、おそらく僕は数人目。マリの恋人であったトールにふさわしくない行動をとった者は消されていたに違いない。
I'd have to kill you again. Toshio's words made perfect sense to me now.
本物のトール君がどんな容姿かは知りません。ただ、マリを納得させられるほどに僕とウリ二つなのは間違いないでしょう。皆さんはトール君とウリ二つな男を見つけてはここに連れ込み記憶喪失にしていた。
Of course, I'd never heard of a method to intentionally cause amnesia. I mean, all you really need is a claw hammer and a bit of luck. But just because I didn't know about it didn't mean it couldn't exist. So let's just assume they could induce amnesia through some unknown method X, I thought. Thus armed, they went out and found a man who looked exactly like Mari's lover and erased his memory. But to what end? So it wasn't a loop, just many different Torus throughout Japan being brought here to die. I mean, yeah. I thought that was pretty straightforward. I mean, they kept saying, we're looking for the real Toru. We gotta dispose of the old Toru. How many Torus could a Toru do if a Toru could do Tors? That's what I'd like to know. It's 21. It's exactly 21, as a matter of fact. I counted. But to what end?
ウリ二つの容姿で記憶を失った僕にトールという新しい人格を上書きするために、これはもう代役なんてものじゃない。新しいトールを作ろうとしたも同然です。
We can rebuild him. We have the technology. Could such a plan possibly work? It was wildly implausible, yes. They and Mari all seemed to have put their faith in it. If they saw no other path open to them, then whatever was left, no matter how bizarre, became their only option, and their only hope.
しかし、トシオさんはさっき言いました。今日一日を台無しにするようなことがあったらと。
I said my first name isn't Toru. I don't know any good mystery novelists named Toru, so I couldn't have named myself that. It would have been against the rules I arbitrarily set for myself.
それはマリが一日トールと過ごすことができたら何らかが達せられることを示します。
That was their primary objective. That was their SR point condition. To give a day-long miracle to the bereft Mari.
ただ、どうしてそのために皆さんが誘拐や殺人に手を染めてまで協力するのかが分かりませんでした。
I mean, what else are we gonna do? I mean, you got the day off, you don't really have any plans. That's a bit of kidnapping between friends.
ただのペンションのリピーターが家族同然の連帯感を持ってマリの境遇に同情を。僕は違うと考えました。
Yes, your story seems implausible. Not impossible, but unlikely. From everything they'd said and done so far, I knew they treated Mari as they would a tumor. They'd been trying, almost to a fault, to pretend this had been a happy day spent with the other Toru.
僕の導き出した答えは皆さんの何らかの生殺与奪をマリが握っているということです。
I mean, anyone could wield the power of life and death over someone else if they weren't a coward. And believe me, it's caused me a lot of work. A lot of work. A lot of work. They were as quiet as ever, but this time there was a clear difference. I realized they'd been stunned into silence. I kept on spilling this wild tale of mine as if I were relating hard facts. The more I talked about it, the more ridiculous it seemed, the less grounded in reality. But the time had come to expose this world I was in.
ただ普通の大学生に過ぎないマリがどういう形で皆さんの生殺与奪を握っているのか、これについては全く想像がつきません。ここにいる全員の何らかの弱みを握っているとしても、このペンションという巨大な密室でそれが意味あることなのか。
It should have been possible for everyone here to gang up against Mari and kill her. They'd already disappeared a bunch of different Toru candidates at this point, after all. She's a witch! Well, I'm sure it would have rhymed. Having already crossed that line, it wouldn't have been unthinkable for them to rise up and kill their oppressor, would it? I mean, they do say that thing you should do. Thank you for the hydrate redeem, Otome.
しかし皆さんはマリに逆らうことなく、今日一日をとにかく穏便に楽しく過ごしてもらうことを望んでいる。それによってマリは皆さんを何かから解放する。
I didn't know what that something was. Just like the supposed method to induce amnesia, I couldn't deny its existence. But I couldn't begin to imagine what it might be.
僕はそのための鍵です。皆さんにとって、マリにとっても重要な。
その通りだよ。よくそこまで気づいたね。
You know, I just sat down and thought really hard. And also I'm kind of on drugs. It's pretty wacky.
皆さんの目的が何かからの解放であるように、それは僕も同じです。ここは僕が本来いるべき場所ではない。僕もまた解放を望んでいます。
He wants to break free. He wants to break free. God knows.
皆さんに都合よく利用されて、用済みになったからと消されたのではたまらない。
At least he's self-aware. In exchange for continuing to pretend I was Mari's boyfriend, I wanted my freedom. It was the only thing I had to negotiate with. For everyone's reactions so far, I was the closest they'd ever gotten to someone who was a dead ringer for Mari's boyfriend. They intended to bet everything on the 1 in a million miracle that I represented.
マリの恋人役を全うすることと引き換えに、僕を解放すると約束してください。皆さんと僕は同じ立場だと言いたいのです。僕たちは全員、マリが今日一日に納得しない限り解放されない。どういう理由なのかは一切不明ですが。
I sat down on the sofa. I was done talking. For now. But you can just stop talking? Like whenever you want. My god, this is revolutionary. The die was cast. It was all up to them now. Either they revealed themselves as the killers they were, or they calmly negotiated with me. They all looked at each other for a while, then discussed the situation in hushed tones.
彼は全てを知る権利があると思うの。
そら無理や。わしらがて理解するのにどれだけ時間かけたと思うんや。
いえ、話しましょう。彼の言う通りです。彼もまた私たちと同じ立場の仲間なのだから。
本当に大丈夫？ きっと理解してくれるわよ。
Peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and carrots.
どうせ信じやしない。
Well, and you're probably right.
それは僕が決めます。
No, he's right. I'm warning you. I'm warning you, man. Don't say I didn't warn you.
信じるわよ。だってトシオさんだって最後には理解したんだから。
Toshio doesn't believe in anything. Not even himself.
今だってこれは悪い夢なんだと思いたいよ。
そうね。これが全て悪い夢だったら、どんなに私たちは救われることか。
話してもらえますか？
私から話そう。
Kobayashi stepped forward. Here's the wind-up. No one else in the room objected.
トール君の想像、いや、推理はほとんど当たっているよ。正直、驚くほどに。
ありがとうございます。
Thanks. Oh, it was nothing.
ただ、一番大切な一番最初が実は逆なんだ。
And the pitch.
僕の大前提の何かが間違っているということですか？
間違って当然だ。俺たち全員だって最初自分の頭を疑ったくらいだからな。
Toshio was looking a little desperate, a little reckless as he said this.
僕の何が逆だったんですか？
Baka? Who decide? There, I did it. Are you happy now? Never ask me for anything ever again. And the
トー
pitch!
ル君のことだよ。
では彼は死んでいない？
Wow, I can't believe Toru's not dead. The one bad ending where he doesn't die. From the beginning, I'd been assuming that Toru was dead. An easy leap to make given how sad Mari and the others had seemed. If it weren't for that assumption, I never would have come up with the horrifying idea of them wanting to make another Toru. Wow. This is getting out of hand. Now there's two of them.
生きてるんだ。奇跡的にね。
There's a lot of miracles taking place today.
では生きてはいても脳死状態にあるとか？
違うんだよ、トール君。そういうのじゃないんだ。
Kobayashi seemed at a loss, unsure how to explain. Toshio stepped forward and started rummaging through his pockets.
オーナー、実際に見せた方が早いでしょ。
それは
What Toshio eventually took out of his pocket was a folding knife. An unsettling sight, to be sure, but also the sort of item that might prove useful to a law employee.
特に何の変哲もないナイフに見えますが。
You know, it's like you can do with a normal knife. I'm not just talking about stabbing people, though I get the feeling that's what's about to happen.
トール君、 しばらくの間、一切口を挟まないでいてほしい。
Tell about your stupid face for half a second, okay?
わかりました。
Okay. Good talk. Toshio stared at the blade for a while. He didn't say a word. The women, anticipating something painful, all closed their eyes. A moment later, there was a horrific sound. I mean, all I heard was a stock someone punching a side of beef off camera SFX. I don't know about the rest of you. A horrific sound, accompanied by a crimson spray. And that guy had a lot of blood inside him. For a second, I couldn't comprehend what was happening right in front of me. Bright red splashed up onto the wall. And then, it started slowly dripping back down. Blood came bubbling, gushing out of Toshio's neck. So much blood. Who would have thought the old man had so much blood in him? He'd taken his knife and stabbed himself in the throat as hard as he could. I gave a pathetic squeak, my mouth opening and closing like a goldfish gasping for air. The others turned away from the sight, but they didn't seem nearly as shocked as I was. That difference in our reactions ended up confusing me even more. Toshio eventually let out a cry of agony and fell to his knees. He dropped his knife and pressed both hands against the wound in his throat. But it was too little too late. There was no way he'd be able to staunch the flow. But no, the geyser of blood gradually slowed to a trickle. It was like all the blood had drained out of him. Guh, indeed. Toshio moaned in pain. Just because someone's been stabbed in the throat, it doesn't mean they'll die right away. But there's more than that. Toshio grunted and slowly got back to his feet. His clothes were stained bright red with blood. As you can clearly see, his wound must have been deep indeed. Then, slowly, Toshio began to remove his hands from his throat. I turned, not wanting to see the horrors that waited beneath.
見てみろ。大丈夫だから。
It's okay. Fearfully, I turned back to Toshio. I looked at the wound in his throat. It was bloody, gruesome, almost painful to look at. I had a hard time not averting my eyes.
意外に臆病だな。まあ、無理もないか。
トール君、ビビらんでええで。よう見てみ。
Toshio's expression was no longer that of a man in pain. Rather, he let out a big sigh and gave a smile that said, I did it. Are you proud of me, Mommy? I did it. No way. Is this a magic trick or something? Toshio wiped the blood from his neck as if he were wiping away sweat. There was no wound there. Nothing that could have spilled so much blood. And that wasn't all. I could barely believe my eyes. The blood. The blood.
これは
Eh? Nani? The blood that had washed over Toshio. The blood that had splattered onto the wall. The blood, almost like it was evaporating, the blood began to vanish. The blood and... I stood there stunned and stammering. It all disappeared as if nothing had ever happened. The blood that stained Toshio's clothes, gone. There wasn't even a trace of it. A good way to clean up a crime scene. It's a good way to not have a crime scene, considering that the victim is just gonna get back up. Which, again, weirdly not the first time that's happened to me. It's been a long, storied career, let me tell you. The same went for the blood on the wall. Gone. Reduced to atoms. It's like a magic trick. No, an illusion. A waking dream.
こいつは手品じゃないんだ。
Stop reading my mind. As he said this, Toshio picked up the knife from the floor and folded it shut. I was so stunned I couldn't say a word edgewise.
ありがとう、トシオ君。見ての通りだよ、トール君。
僕は一体何を見たんですか？
Sorry, I zoned out for a bit. Could you do it again?
彼の言う通りなんだ。これは手品じゃない。僕たちは死なないんだ。
We can't die. Not you mean like in a like shonen anime bad guy? No, I can't die. That's impossible sense. Or
とは言っても痛いし苦しいがね。
私たちはね、もう死んでるのよ。
みんなにはいくら謝っても謝り足りないんだが、私のせいなんだ。ボイラーの調子が悪いとは知っていたんだが、この冬は乗り切れると思って。
the whole pension actually exploded. The joke, that's legitimately what I'm pretty sure is going on here.
私たちはみんなね、そのボイラーの事故で死んでしまったのよ。
Do you think after everybody finished dying, Mikimoto rolled up with a bag full of Tanaka's bits and was just like, what the fuck? After all that time he went to make himself an alibi. I was kind of thinking, that didn't really make sense in the main timeline either. What's the point of making yourself an alibi if you're gonna kill all people who are witnesses to your alibi?
みんな本当にすまない。シュプールにさえ来なければこんな目には。
もう十分やで。ごめんで生き返れるわけでもあれ。
そりゃ最初はみんなで罵ったけど、時間は無限にあったし、いい加減気も晴れて諦めもついたわ。
So this is the Golden Land. Yep. By land that is gold. If you travel down the Sweetfish River... I don't actually remember the entire epitaph. Sorry.
つまりマリの恋人のトール君が死んだのではなく、トール君は生きていて、逆に僕たちは死んでいるってことなんですか？
Oh yeah, everyone's super fucking dead.
死んだばかりの人はみんな最初は記憶喪失なの。でも時間とともに思い出していくわ。自分が誰でどうして死んだのか。
Does real Toru have amnesia? I wonder what this Toru died of. Did he choke on a pretzel? Did he slip on a banana peel? Curious.
死ぬ瞬間っちゅうのはな、意外に心地ええもんなんや。寝不足でクラクラの時、ベッドに倒れ込むような気分やで。
その後ね、まるで漫画みたいなの。本当に自分の体から魂がふわりと浮き上がって自分を見下ろせるのよ。
Man, I can't believe all the mangaka of the world are actually dead and writing about their real experiences.
誰にでもわかるわ。ああ、私って死んだんだって。
トール君も自分のことを思い出せたようだし、多分もうしばらくすれば自分がなんで死んだのか、その時の光景が蘇ってくるはずだよ。
あっさりそんなこと言われても。
Well, it isn't gonna unhappen if they're more dramatic about it. I laughed, but it came out sounding foolish and pathetic. I wanted someone to agree with me. I wanted someone to tell me this was all some sort of joke. But no one joined in with my uncomfortable chuckle. Their eyes all quietly told me this was no laughing matter. In an instant, the fog in my head cleared. It was like when you suddenly remembered a dream from the night before, when you'd forgotten when you first woke up. It's late at night. I'm riding a motorcycle on a snowy road. Man, you own a motorcycle? Wow, you're a real cool dude, Toru. My body is frozen through. My fingers feel frostbitten and my teeth chatter ceaselessly. I want to get back to the warmth of my home, my room, as soon as possible. Mari warned me that the weather was going to turn and I should leave early. I didn't listen, and now I found myself in this mess. If I end up catching a cold out here, Mari's definitely gonna be pissed. Just then, a pair of high beams appears from around a bend in the road, piercingly trite. Trucku, no! I was kind of expecting that to be the moment of the crash. Caught by surprise, I start to lose my balance. Trucku, no! The rest of my memories were hard to capture. Play the sound effect for the sake. That's how the punchline is supposed to go. Amateurs. Pain, heat, like my entire back was being dragged along a huge grater. Maybe that was the sensation of falling and sliding across asphalt. Screeching of tires, the glare of approaching headlights, the looming bulk of a car. The feeling of my body being tossed through the air so easily that I'd thought I was a little rag doll. It left me feeling nostalgic somehow. There could be better worlds to be Ace Kai. 80s Truck-kun didn't have as good of an imagination. Dog, are you kidding me? 80s Truck-kun was a genius. 80s Truck-kun sent people to Sephiroth, to feudal Japan, to the world of Escaflowne. All modern Truck-kun just sends people to is just indeterminable variations of the same super generic medieval setting. He's given people cheap powers because he can't find anybody who actually makes for a good protagonist on their own merits. I tell you, that truck's going downhill faster than if he'd run out of gas while going uphill. Poor bastard should just retire already. The feeling of my body being tossed through the air so easily that I thought I was a little ragdoll. It left me feeling nostalgic somehow. A moment ago, Kayama had described the moment of death as being surprisingly pleasant. When I was little, I'd been obsessed with getting my father to do a particular thing for me at the pool. A game. One where he'd lift my little body up and toss me into the water. That strange sensation of weightlessness as I was released into the air. A feeling of weakness, of being conscious but lacking any agency. That strange sense of being flung through the air like a doll. It had been so magical, so wondrous to me. I nodded, weakly. I didn't want to admit it. Man, I was really emotionally attached to that choking pretzel theory, too. But I was sure in that moment I'd been hit by an oncoming car and killed. Okay, now here's the plan. We gotta go out and collect a bunch of different Maris and start sawing their heads off until we find one with short hair and the same taste in drinks as our old Mari. Or we could just ask our Mari to get a haircut, but that's not as fun.
ここはあの世なんですか？
Man, the afterlife's really poorly furnished. I can have a duck painting.
この世ではないが、あの世でもない場所なんだ。言ってみれば、三途の川の中州とでも言うのか。
成仏するために未練を断ち切る場所って私たちは言われたわ。
言われた？誰にです？
多分あれが神さんちゅうやつなんやろな。
Are you there, God? It's me, Total. No, the other one. No, he died already. Remember, he got sawed off after he tried to give Mari melon soda. Look, can we just get to the point here?
私たち全員が自分の死を自覚した時、全員が同時に不思議な典型を受けたの。
It was the voice of the author who didn't feel like explaining this in a more natural way. They'd awoken with amnesia, just like me. Even Kamaitachi, who was supposed to be the owner of Spur, had no recollection of the place when they'd found themselves. How do you know all this? But with time, their memories had returned. And with it, the knowledge that they were already dead. Once everyone realized this, they'd experienced something strange. It hadn't been conveyed through language, per se. If one had to pick a human word to describe it, perhaps inspiration would be the best fit. So when Hadako had called it a revelation just now, everyone found themselves agreeing. It had been such a strange experience.
僕たち全員がその体験の後、ここがどういう場所で自分たちは何をしなければならないかを理解したんだ。
My name is not important. All that's important is what I'm going to do. Namely, that we were the souls of the dead. From here, we need to move to the world beyond. A world of rest and peace. But to reach that world, we need to unburden ourselves of all the attachments and regrets we brought with us from the mortal realm.
まあ、最初はわしらも未練たらたらやった。
でも死んでしまったものは仕方ないし、それに典型で受けた成仏のイメージがとても温かで。
My god, they switched places. They can move. Speaking of renovations.
私たちはこんなところでぐちぐちと未練を語るより、次のステージに進んで安らかに眠るなり、あるいはまた生を受けるなりした方が現実的じゃないってことになったのよ。
Now that we've all made our decisions.
まあ秋はあっさりしてたけど、私たちは相応の時間をかけて納得していったわ。私のあれも食べたかった、これも食べたかったは小林さんのおかげで未練を立てたもん。
Keiko, will you please get a second character trait? God's sake, at least get a funny hat like Aki. I mean, come on.
私の料理が死後も役に立てるとはね。
They'd all talked for days here in this lounge. They had discussed their regrets, comforted one another, and gradually learned to let it go and move on.
本当にここはそんな不思議な世界なんですか？だって僕たちはシュプールを出てゲレンデにいたし、そこには大勢のスキー客も。
すべて私たちの生前の記憶から作られた幻なの。
Yeah, those people aren't real, so you don't have to worry about them.
行けるのはせいぜいゲレンデまで。ここを遠く離れようとすると、どんどん世界が希薄になっていくわ。
What happens if you drive all the way out into the void? What then? Just kind of stop existing? What's that feel like?
最後には頭が真っ白になって、気づくとまたここに戻ってるの。
Oh, invisible walls. Okay, I see how it is.
俺たちだって結構あがいたんだぜ。だが何をしてもこの世界はよくできた幻だとわかるだけだった。
そうして何をしても無駄であることを知り、少しずつ諦めていったんだ。
What a crazy story, Mark. Must seem that way to them as well. But they'd already spent a considerable amount of time here, discussing and trying various things. And now they'd made their peace with it and were working to rid themselves of regret.
どうもな、わしらは同じ場所で一緒に死んだもんで、グループ扱いらしいんや。わしら全員が未練を絶って、全員一緒に成仏せなあかんらしいんや。
つまり皆さんがまだここにいるということは、まだ未練が残っている人がいるということ。
Gee, I wonder who it could be.
そういうことさ。その最後の一人が未練を絶たない限り、俺たちはずっとあの世とこの世の狭間にいる亡霊なわけだ。
Just gotta let us stop caring about things so much. That's the healthy approach to loss. Felt like I was finally starting to understand. So did this mean the person still mired in regret was...
マリですね。
Everyone looked down at the floor and quietly nodded their heads. If they're dead and none of this is real, how did Kayama pay for the ice cream with his credit card? There wasn't anyone working in the store. Well, there wasn't anyone working in the store. Who do you think he paid, huh? He just went in there and took a bunch of free ice cream. Man, you can just take that free ice cream? And being dead is awesome. I wish I were dead. Please don't clip that out of context. Finally, all the pieces of this curious narrative had slotted into place. And what a strange story it was. What a story, Mark. A tale of two lovers, separated by death, Toru and Mari. You get it? Because it's not clear whether they're talking about our Toru and Mari or this Toru and his Mari who's still alive. It's clever. It's smart. It's a smart person name for smarty pantses. But their fates couldn't have been more different. There had been some kind of accident at Spur Lodge, and everyone had died except for Toru. Yes, Toru was the only one who'd survived. Damn, we kind of just went over this. I don't really need you to bring it along with us. The others had perished together, as couples, lovers, friends. Only Mari had been left bereft. The Kobayashis, Kayamas, Toshu and Midori, who hadn't left each other's side this whole time. They were clearly in a relationship of some sort. The three girls didn't have any romantic attachments, but were obviously close friends. They were never apart either. Like, not a single time since I'd shown up. It was kind of weird, actually. Only Mari had been left alone, torn from her
マリ
love.
って子はさ、結構罪な子だったんだよね。
Yep, no thoughts, head empty.
トールくんははしゃいでた。一方的にアプローチしてるだけの関係で、自分なんか眼中にないかもしれないと思ってた憧れの彼女からスキー旅行に誘われたからって。なのに二人は別室なんておかしなカップルとは思ってたけどね。
Now they're just straight up finishing each other's sentences. It could be that Mari hadn't been very good at expressing her emotions. Or maybe she'd still just a kid who didn't yet understand the thing called love. I do not understand. What is this human emotion known as friendship? I want background information on these girls. Do they live together? Are they childhood friends? Do they shower together? Why are they so close? I don't know. But what I do know is that Keiko really likes to eat. And really, isn't that enough for a human being? Perhaps she'd been the type of person who watched from an emotional remove as other couples flirted with each other on campus. It wasn't difficult to imagine how such a girl might have coldly rebuffed Toru's impassioned first overtures. Chunk. Right up until the very end. Toru had never heard from Mari's own lips that she had feelings for him, that they were boyfriend and girlfriend. Her sudden invitation for them to go on a ski trip together, while confusing, must have also left him ecstatic. What a clumsy way for her to express her love. The whole time Toru had been pursuing her, Mari had been too shy to offer a single word of encouragement. And then, out of nowhere, she'd offered us to go on an overnight trip together. Despite the impression she gave of being romantically aloof, it turned out she'd just been terribly timid and inexperienced when it came to love. Had she managed to open up any during their ski trip? Probably not. Just going on a trip together wouldn't have changed anything. Why? Because she hadn't changed. Toru in his exuberance would joke and play tricks on her, only to be scolded. He doled out kindness just as freely, but it was all one-sided. She'd devour what she wanted and turn her back on what didn't please her. When it came to romance, she'd still been a selfish little girl. Alright, yeah, look, it is a tree. I did just like their relationship. Do you get it? Do you get it, chat? Do you get it? She'd known their relationship couldn't keep going that way forever. But she hadn't known how or when to begin to fix things. She'd thought if they went on a ski trip together, maybe somebody would change. And nothing had. Because she hadn't want to change. Only after death had Mari finally been able to recognize her regrets. She'd been a girl in love with the idea of love rather than its reality. She didn't have love, so she couldn't see it. Do you recognize Ryukishi's fingerprints all over this case yet? It was wacky. And now she regretted having died, without ever having known actual love. Mari was a beautiful woman. Everyone had probably assumed she was way of their league. She'd already had a boyfriend. But there's been a few across the case so far. I just haven't brought them up because Honestly, how petty do you think I am? As a result, no one had ever approached her. In fact, they'd actively avoided her. All her other friends had been landing themselves boyfriends and enjoying their youths to the fullest. Wait, junk. But Mari had always been alone. And a boy named Toru had approached her. My god, Toru, you have a face! The hell? That's wacky. Look at him, he's got those big, dewy eyes. And a very prominent collarbone, good lord. You can balance your drink on that thing. Average looks, average talent, average hobbies. Above average ability to solve murders, but no one had figured that bit out yet. When it came to taking a hint, maybe slightly below average. Utterly unremarkable in every way. Still, he'd approached her. Junk. Because he was a bit oblivious. He hadn't automatically assumed she already had a boyfriend. Toru had fallen hard for Mari, and he wanted her to like him too. It was with such an incredibly pure and innocent heart that he'd approached her. He had a tendency to get carried away and do goofy things. And in response, she might laugh, or act exasperated, or even scold him. That had been the bedrock of all their interactions. To Mari, it hadn't seemed like a relationship between two lovers. No, not at all. But then again, what had she thought such a dynamic should be like? She hadn't a clue. She'd never really thought about it. Mari had simply taken for granted the one-sided kindness that Toru would lash upon her every day. It was only after she died that she'd realized all of this. How foolish she'd been. How deeply Toru had cared for her. And how much she'd failed to return his affections. She'd been filled with remorse and regret. For the first time, she had truly understood the ache of having left things unfinished in life. Everyone had tried to tell her to let go of that regret, that she'd do better in her next life. But Mari had refused to accept that. Even though she'd known her stubbornness would keep the others from reaching the hereafter. One of the most selfish statements of her life, she'd spoken only after her death.
トールに謝りたい。謝らなくていいから、トールの気持ちに同じだけの気持ちで応えたい。今度こそ素直になりたい。素直な恋人同士になりたい。トールに応えたい。私を好きになってくれてありがとうって。そして偽らない私の本当の恋心を彼に捧げたい。
What good would such words do after death? Who was even there to hear them? But so strong, so powerful were her feelings that they'd drawn the notice of something inhuman.
Tabun, あれは悪魔だと思う。
Toru wasn't assuming a lot of things. Who's narrating this? I don't know. God? Toru? The Kamaitachi? I mean, we can sit here cracking jokes all day, but When you're right down to it, this is the closest thing to an emotional core we've seen from the whole game. It really is interesting, actually. I've mentioned this was written by Ryukishi several times now, but you've got to think, this was written, like, literally, like, 20, 30, maybe even 40. I don't remember when this specific version of the game came out. Like, at least 20 years after the original Kamaitachi no Yoru was released. It's like we're looking at the growth of the visual novel as a medium in real time, almost. So much more depth to the characters, so much more deep metaphysical approaches, so much more interpersonal conflict. A whole less effort to present a fair mystery, which, I mean, you know, some of us liked that aspect, so I'm saying.
ここに恐ろしい何かが現れていったんだよ。
And this version was from 2017, so yeah, like... When did this game come out? 83? Gee, that's like close to 40 years. Incredible, really. In exchange for her soul, that present said it would give Mari a way to fulfill her wish.
悪魔
Could it be... Say 94. 94, really? Criminy. Yeah, still. Could it be... Satan?
それでもその時の私たちには救いの手に見えたわ。それくらいにマリさんの嘆きは深かったから。
悪魔の話にうまい話があるわけないわ。でもあの痛々しいマリさんに全てを忘れて未練を立てなんて誰が言えたの？
Who among us, indeed?
いいじゃん、悪魔だって。恋するってのはさ、世界でただ一人の人を世界の誰にも渡さず自分だけが奪い取るってことだよ。
Okay, have you all been rehearsing this? Why do you keep finishing each other's sentences?
とにかく私たち全員が納得しない限り私たちは成仏できない。その手にすがるしかなかったのよ。
They did trust Yukiichi wrote his existence when he said, I mean, yeah, I knew that much. I wasn't around doing, like, professional writing for Chunsoft in 94.
そして惨劇が始まることになるんだけど。
I didn't even think he was out of school by then. Like public school.
恋心から生まれる悪魔が一番恐ろしいと私たちは知ることになるわ。
The devil had ended up giving Mari the lifeline she'd wished for. The deal was this. When Toru, still in the physical world, died, there were certain black arts that could capture his soul and bring it here to this version of Spur. A demonic magic circle had been drawn on the floor of the wine cellar. Through dark arts, Toru's soul could be captured the instant it left the mortal plane. Mari couldn't bear the thought that she might somehow miss the passage of Toru's soul. And so, she had retraced the magic circle over and over again, creating a pattern much stronger than what the devil had originally shown her.
魂を捕まえる網の目をより細かくしたと考えるといい。その結果、悲劇が起こることになった。
確実にトールの魂を捉えたいがゆえに、トールに似た波長の魂も捉えてしまうようになったんだ。
What do you think Toru's spiritual wavelength is like? What do this guy and Toru, Kamai, have in common?
それでシュプールとは何の関係もないところで死んだ。
Thank you for the hydrate redeem.
君のその体は悪魔が用意した肉の人形だ。頭の中は空洞になっていて、そこに君の魂が捉えられている。
So is the soul supposed to go inside the head, or... Because if so, would that necessarily then go on to prove that Celtic mythology was correct? Does that have deep metaphysical implications?
だからあんただけは私たちと違う。その頭をザクッとチェーンソーで開けば、あんただけは成仏できるのよ。
Do you think all the victims of that case regret having their heads cut open with a chainsaw? I mean, I wouldn't enjoy getting my head cut open with a chainsaw. Sounds like it'd be kind of painful.
魂が網にかかるたびにマリはその体に閉じ込め、本当にトール君かどうか試した。
Like, is that a regret you have to work through when you're in the space between the now and the hereafter? I just want to know what I should be prepared for.
違うと判断すれば、その度に俺たちは何の罪もない誰かの魂にもう一度死ぬ苦痛を与えなければならなかった。
Okay, but if you had a hammer, why did you default to a chainsaw the first few times? This had been repeated again and again. Like, who tries to chainsaw open a human skull as a method of murder? Come on. When a soul that might be Toru arrived, Mari had grown excited all over again. She could hardly wait to see if it was really him or not. But she'd always been left disappointed. And each time, that person's dying cries had echoed through the halls of Spur Lodge. Those people hadn't done anything wrong. I mean, statistically speaking, some of them must have. Let's try to be a little realistic here. Yet even though they had just died, they'd been forced to endure the pain of death once more. All because their souls were on a similar wavelength to Toru's. Everyone had quickly realized what they were doing was immoral. They'd even said as much. They tried to convince Mari of that fact as well. But it only made her dig in her heels even more. After a while, the smile had vanished from Mari's face. Each time a new soul was ensnared, she'd turn into a devil herself. She'd test each new one with cold indifference. But what could they do? It might have been the devil's work they were doing. But as long as Mari remained shackled down by regret, their fates were all entwined. They'd had no choice but to keep cooperating until Mari was satisfied.
私たちはマリが納得するようにするしかない。それにここでの時間もどうやら無限にあるわけではないらしいんだ。
So you can die of old age while you're already dead? Man, that must be reality. There's no money in the afterlife, so you can't pay for nursing home fees.
俺たちには多分もう時間がない。今回も君のチャンスを逃すわけにはいかないんだ。
時間？ここでの時間は無限にあるのではなかったんですか？
Mari wasn't to be found in her bed. There was the sound of running water in her room. She was taking a shower. Her slender silhouette could be seen through the steam as she washed herself. One might easily envision skin so white it could rival the snowfields outside. I'm not sure why you would want to, though, since the CG is right in front of you. You don't need to use your imagination now. That guy's got really big hands. But no. There behind the steam, on her skin, were a multitude of dark red blotches. Those blotches each looked as if someone had taken their blood-stained hand and pressed it against her skin. Eerie scarlet handprints. So many of them, as if they were clawing their way up her body, starting at her feet. And now they were about to reach her chest, her heart. Toshio pulled up his shirt, and when I saw what was on there on his stomach, I was stunned. Was he saying these creepy handprints represent some sort of time limit?
俺だけじゃない。ここにいるみんなそうさ。
薄気味悪いんで、なんとか服で隠してはいるんだが。
それは一体。
多分これは地獄の亡者たちが呼んでるんや。
ひどく冷たくて痛いくらいなんだ。触ってみるかい？
At Toshio's urging, I nervously poked at one of the stains on his skin. And sure enough, the handprint was shockingly cold. The unmarked flesh next to it possessed all the human warmth you'd expect, but the red handprint itself felt almost frozen. Doctor, if you were checking a victim's body and you found these weird handprints, what would you assume? I would just assume it was like somebody grabbing really hard. People get handprint bruises all the time. I mean, the positioning would probably be weird, but I wouldn't break the top 10 of weirdest things I've seen. I mean, all the way back at Murder on D Hill. Found somebody, you know, getting pretty thoroughly manhandled by bare hands. How many of these did they have on their bodies?
確かにこの世界は未練を断つのに十分な時間を与えてくれた。だが無制限にってわけじゃないらしい。
Sure, one of the weirdest things you've seen. Come on, man, spoilers. You can't just go around spoiling things that happen in Mystery World. That's against the law. I guess that time we found the body wrapped in a full, like, amusement park Mickey Mouse style mascot suit was pretty weird. Honestly, sometimes it feels like culprits just come up with interesting visuals, then, like, come up with tricks to make them happen after the fact. How cute. No, Otome, he had been stabbed to death. He was covered in blood. There was no wound in the costume, though. That was the puzzle.
This不気味な手形はわしらが思うに未練を立てず成仏できんかった連中の叫び声や。
A soul that couldn't achieve contentment here in this world would probably fall into a world of endless cold. One as cold as these handprints. They might even be so frozen down there that they craved a little warmth. And so they called out for more company from the depths of hell.
手形ははじめゆっくりと浮かんできた。しかし次第にそれも早まり、手形の増える速度は上がる一方だ。
トール君の魂だってそうちょくちょくかかるわけじゃない。おそらく次のトール君を待つ時間はないだろう。
Did have to accelerate the narrative a little, I guess. Otherwise, this wouldn't actually have any Reminds me of one of the Ultimate games I played had a killer who killed multiple people and covered their heads with cute animal mascot heads. Neat ideas. That's actually buzzing my head ever so slightly, but I might be mixing it up with something else. What was it? What was it? What was it? It's right on the tip of my tongue. I understood what they meant by me being their last best chance. If after a night of spending time with me, Mari still couldn't rid herself of regret, then these people would lose their chance at reaching the hereafter. Those cold, cold hands would drag them down into the darkness of hell. I looked upstairs. Mari must have the same strange handprints on her own skin. Physical manifestations of the looming time limit. And she must also know that I might be everyone's last best chance at salvation.
彼女が僕をトール君だと信じきってくれる理由が分かりました。そして僕は彼女にとって成仏できる最後のチャンス。
どうかしらね。彼女は魂と引き換えに悪魔と契約したのよ。未練は立ててもあの子は成仏できないかも。
彼女の選んだ道さ。俺たちには何も言えない。
けど、わしらまで道連れはごめんやで。今回で納得してくれんと、わしらまで地獄行きや。
Go to hell. Go directly to hell. Do the pass go. Do not collect $200. Normally Haruko would have admonished him after a comment like that, but she didn't say a word. No one did. Kaya's impassioned plea seemed to express what they were all thinking.
マリちゃんはトール君と一日を過ごせれば未練を断つと常々言っていた。君が今夜一晩トール君のままでいてくれればみんな救われるんだ。
But if I'm still in a flesh puppet, will I be saved? I mean, you know, the needs of the many and all, but it's kind of lonely up here.
あなたには何の義理もない話。あなたはただの被害者で巻き込まれただけ。
けど頼む、君だけが頼りなんや。わしらのためにどうか頼むわ。この通りや。
At first, I'd resented the fact that they'd taken advantage of my amnesia to manipulate me. But when I saw how desperately Kayama and the others were pleading with me, my anger evaporated, and only mercy remains. Alright, 0 kills run. Not even gonna stab Flowey, and even though he could totally deserve it. I was convinced by Kayama calling him son. Son, I'm proud of you. Let's go grill up a football together. What a fruitless world this had been for them. Not a strawberry to be seen. Souls were on the verge of being dragged to hell all because of Mari's selfishness. She'd told them that if she could spend just one good day with me, she'd be able to let go of her regret. Yep, that's the thing that we were just told. Good talk. But even if she rid herself of that burden, she was the only one who wouldn't be saved. Mari had longed for just one more day with Toru, even if that meant selling her soul to a devil. Now she wanted to finally open her heart and spend the day with her true love and everything to be alright. And in return, Even if she was satisfied by her time with me, she'd be damned to hell.
今日が終わればこの世界は終わるということですか。
おそらくここはあくまでも未練を断つための仮の世界だ。どういう結果になろうとも君は解放されるだろう。
君に現世への未練がなければすぐに成仏できるだろうな。だがもし未練があるならここと同じような君だけの世界が用意されるだろう。
I'm talking for so long, I'm surprised the day hasn't ended. It's fine, we're not in any danger of starving, I don't think. Probably. Hopefully. Right? Right?
いえ、たった今未練ができました。
Alright, team. Let's do this. You seemed to catch Toshio by surprise. I slowly got up from the sofa. For the first time since coming to this world, I stood of my own choosing, not at the urging of those around me. This was fate at work. Normally, that car accident would have been the end of me. My story would have stopped, like a film that had been cut off mid-reel. But instead, I'd been pulled into this strange fantasy. The character of me had been given one more chance to shine, at least for a single night. I was right. If all the world was a stage, then we were its players. And we'd keep on acting as long as we were given the opportunity. And now here I stood on the floorboards of this curious theater, and I still had a role to play.
決めました。彼女を騙すのはもうやめます。
They all looked up at me in astonishment. Kayama seemed about to speak, but I talked right over him.
トール君のふりをするんじゃない。僕が本当のトール君になるんです。
There can be only one Toru. A plot twist, this actually is the real Toru. He got in a fight with another Toru, with the right to be the one true Toru, and he got his head chopped off. Then the other Toru absorbed his power. And that just kept going until this, the last true Toru, finally died and came here. I was already dead. Yet here in this strange world, I'd been given one last night to act of my own free will. In this world, there was a girl who needed saving, and I was the only one who could save her. Was there even any question of what I should do?
マリは僕が救います。人生の最後の一日にそれができるのにやらないなんてことがあったら、僕は人生を憎む。ノロ。
I mean, I've never been given that sort of opportunity, and I still hate my life, so really? What are you missing? Mari wasn't the only one who was grieving. I was sure her Toru must be mourning the fact that he didn't die as well. Same for me. I was sure my stupid motorcycle accident had left my Mari's heart shattered. It was no coincidence I'd come to this world. I too was burdened with regret for having left my Mari all alone. Neither this Mari nor I had ever wished for our mortal lovers to follow us into death. So, this was fate at work. Two people, each bearing the name of the other's lover, each weighed down by the same regrets, had met for one last night in a strange world. This was not just the story of Mari's atonement. It was also my first, and last, chance to redeem myself. I had to atone for having wronged my Mari. If only I had left earlier as she'd suggested, I never would have had that accident. My sin was that I'd ignored her advice. Her sin was selling her soul to the devil and trapping a dozen people in hell for the rest of time. Really, that put us on the same thing. Now that I was here, even though I was desperate to see her again, I'd never wait for her to join me in this place. I wanted her to overcome her sadness. I wanted her to live a happy life in the mortal plane. And the Mari of this world, the dark magic she'd wished for, the one she sold her soul to a devil for, was a method to catch Toru's soul after he died. She hadn't wished for some way to actually make Toru die so he could join her here. This, even though she could have easily done so.
皆さんにとって僕がここへ来たのは偶然でしょうが、僕には違う。
No. This had been inevitable. It was a test, a trial, imposed upon Mari and me, leaving our lovers so sad.
僕はすでに僕のマリを悲しませている。その埋め合わせにはならないけれど、代わりにもう一人の悲しむマリを救う機会を与えられた。
How many Maris can one Mari be?
僕は彼女への同情心からだけじゃない。僕自身の贖罪のためにも彼女を救います。
This was my wish. That the Mari and Toru we'd left behind might meet one another back in their world. And in misery, perhaps they could find comfort in each other, and they could forge a new happiness together. Man, I really hope my girlfriend has sex with that other guy. That'd be poggers. I put all my heart and determination into that thought. I wasn't sure if the others really understood what I was thinking just then. Doctor, are you okay? Not ever in my life. No. It didn't matter if they understood. Because this was a matter between me and Mari alone. Hey, a funny story. This hand is actually one of those cold hands of the damned that are dragging people back to hell. So every time you redeem that redeem, I actually get a bit closer to being dead. Just thought you all deserved to figure that out at some point. Okay, I have no idea how much longer this route is. As we all know, Yukishi is not exactly the most efficient writer in the world. We're approaching a climax, so I think I'm gonna call stream here for the moment. Thank you for the head pat, Otome. I'll keep it warm in my heart as we sign off. Now watch knowing my luck. When we do go on tomorrow, it's going to turn out that there's 3 text boxes left. Anyway, thank you all for showing up today. There's no stream tomorrow. On Wednesday, we're going to be playing more Retro Game Challenge, where we'll have a decent few directions we could go, actually. Yes, until Wednesday. Thank you all for coming. Please try not to die. I don't want to be investigating your corpse over the break. And I will see all of you later. Fare thee well.